Hello, hello. Welcome to the first episode of Spiral Up. I am your host, Nemo, and if you don't know, or if you didn't read the description, Spiral Up is just a inside look into my life, my perspective on where I'm currently at in life, and my journey on this spiral up to wherever I plan to go. But it's also, a record for me. So there's something that I can look back on, see my train of thought. My future kids will be able to see who I was, learn who I am, and also I think it's just really good to get your thoughts out there, get things not necessarily on paper, but for lack of better words, that is what I'm trying to do. Really get everything that's up in my head out there so then, I can listen to myself and be kind of, just, I feel like if you put yourself out there or speak your thoughts, when we have great conversations with people, you get better insights, you can learn things, but I feel like we don't talk to ourselves enough or just talk in general about our thoughts and make a record of them. Like a month ago, I had this like crazy idea, but I don't remember it and I forgot to write it down. So those two things is like a recipe for just a disaster because there's no way I can get that information back and there's no log of it. So it's like it didn't even happen. But I don't know. I'm just like thinking maybe I'm a futurist for this, but I'm like thinking like excuse me, I just burped into the mic. I'm just thinking super future, like my kids, they'll be able to know who I am, which is super dope. They'll be able to see me this week and next week and the week after that and actually see who I am, my train of thought, my thought process. I used to watch Joe Rogan back in the day and he's changed so much to now. It's really cool. It's really insightful to see how somebody has grown as a person, as an individual. So that's what I want to do with Spiral Up. So welcome. This is episode one, and if you're watching the video version of this, I have a Corona beer because I thought it'd be quite fitting to have a beer of this stature during this time. No, all jokes aside, it is a very serious time right now. Coronavirus, the global pandemic. It's changing society. It's changing. It's literally going to change the rest of everyone's lives who are living right now, and it's a pivotal point in history. And because of the effects of this pandemic, I wanted to just put my thoughts out there, put my understanding of it out there, and see if anybody agrees with me, if anybody disagrees with me. Mind you, uh, do note I am not a medical professional. I'm just some dude in a room with a light, holding a beer, with a backdrop with the plant over here. Um, so to all the people listening, you can find this the video version. I'll have it in the show notes. But I haven't created the YouTube channel for this yet, so I can't plug that here. But it'll be in the show notes, and you'll be able to watch the video version of this podcast. But yeah, I'm no professional. I'm just some dude in a room by himself talking into a microphone. And these are my opinions, my thoughts, my perspectives, how I feel about the current situation. So I have some notes over here that I wanted to kind of like dive into, add my 2 cents, and really kind of put the understanding, um, or the understanding that I have on this current coronavirus and this current pandemic. Let me take a quick drink of my Corona beer. Um, um, I mean, Corona is a classic beer, so I'll put that down. All right, so we all know what the coronavirus is. We all know about the pandemic. We all know about the specific details about the virus. We also know the government is telling us one thing one day and another thing another day. We're seeing a ton of information, kind of like information overload. But what I really want to talk about is like the state of things right now and what's next and what the future kind of holds for us, because that is something that's very concerning to me. Mainly because we live in this weird time and there's a lot of people that are affected literally by this global pandemic. We all know it started over in China. Factories shut down, supply chains have been hindered. And as it stands right now in the US, our economy is trashed, you know? We have we just passed a record $2 trillion stimulus package to help bring more money back into the society. There's tons of people that have gone on unemployment, that have lost their jobs. I know a few people who have lost their jobs because of this pandemic, and there's a lot of people, especially in America, for as rich of a country as we are, that live paycheck to paycheck. I think the statistic somewhere is 40 to 50%, but because of that large number, that's half of the workforce in America lives paycheck to paycheck. I think it's 40% doesn't have at least two, three, $400 in savings. So when you have states and governments, you know, having non-essential business shut down and people losing their jobs, the most ever all at once, in modern history, this has never happened before. What's the effects on that? You know, um, how is the future going to unfold? What exactly is going to be the result of people being out of work for a month, 2 months, potentially 3, 6, 9, 12 months? Who knows how long this is going to last? And I feel like in America, it's going to last quite a while, just because a lot of people are ignorant and stubborn. Um, and we can dive into that a bit later. But yeah, it's a crazy thing to think about. Um, so my notes here. The first thing I put, what's next, the future. I spoke about the time frame, 6, 9 months. Who knows how long this is? But when you really think about, you know, what this virus is, right? It could live within people for from 2 to 14 days without showing any symptoms, right? And now we just got word from the CDC that, um, if everybody, wears masks, you can help, prevent the spread, whether you have it or you don't have it. A little protection can go a long way. But that fear of the unknown is going to change society. And whether, so, sorry, going on a tangent, but like I said, this is just free form. I'm just talking. If you haven't been a follower of my YouTube channel or anything, and this is your first time listening to me, I live up in Seattle, Washington, where it was ground zero, as they say, of excuse me, of the coronavirus outbreak. And I actually lived in that particular county. I think it was Snohomish County, where the outbreak began, which was at that retirement center. But what I'm trying to get at is, you know, being up here in Washington, in a state where things shut down. We are currently on lockdown until May 4th as it stands right now. So I haven't worked in a month and a half or a month. I don't know. I have the times kind of all over the place. But I, fortunately, am in a blessed position where I am still being paid in full and I still have my job. But a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have that security, right? Um, so keeping that in mind, there's a lot of people who lost their jobs and haven't had a job for the past month. Stimulus check is finally coming next week for some individuals, not everyone. So maybe that'll help. But um, yeah, there's a lot of people that, you know, are kind of in a limbo situation right now. And it's only been like a month into this. So another month is supposed to surpass all of April. May 4th, we are on stay at home orders. I believe there are some reports that things are, there's not as many, you know, cases up here in Washington, and the governor has been saying that, maybe things will get better, maybe things will go back to normal. So May 4th is that deadline, but when May 4th comes and say it's super hopeful, right? It's, you know, all, you know, peaches and cream, we can go back to normal society. We go back to normal society. What is normal? What is going to be normal? Like, what exactly will make people feel at ease? Because, like I said earlier, it can stay within you for 2 to 14 days undetected, right? Which is how it spreads so rapidly. And right now, New York is getting hit the hardest. There's a ton of people with it. Say Washington, the state, decides to, all right, you know what? We're good. We don't have as many cases. We're going to open back up. Everybody go back to work. May 5th, do what you do. Will people really feel comfortable enough to walk the streets, to, you know, be within 6 feet of each other again? Or is the standard 6 feet gonna stay, apparent for the foreseeable future? Also, if one state, so say Washington is the first state that's like, all right, we're good, we're gonna go, everybody go back to work. Does that put more and more people at risk? You know, since businesses are open, that means other people can come from outside the state. We're one state away from California. People could come from New York. People can do road trips. People, you can drive from New York to Washington well within the 14-day limit of not showing any symptoms. And then will everything just skyrocket again? Like it's a weird thing to think about, but it's like what is actually going to happen next? What's going to be the thing that really makes people feel safe? And I feel like nobody's really, well, I some people are talking about it, like some, creators and stuff that I follow, but no, government official, I not that I've seen, has talked about immediately when they lift the stay at home orders, or they lift, non-essential, workers going back, like, will people still want to go to, a concert, especially like a big name artist where people fly in all over the world to, see this particular artist perform? Will people still be comfortable to go to, um yeah, to go to these concerts? Sorry, I just got a text message. I probably should have put my phone on do not disturb. um Let me see if I put do not disturb, just so I don't have any interruptions. um yeah, I probably should think that, next through. But this is episode one. It's okay. It's a learning process. Next episode is gonna be a bit better. Like you've noticed, I really don't have an intro or outro. Um, but I am gonna have to take a break here in, a little while. I'll let you guys know, just because I am filming this and there's a 30-minute time limit. So that'll be a nice little break. But yeah, but let me get back on track, back on, the topic at hand. Since, I'm diving head right into this. Like, what really is gonna make people feel comfortable? That's all I'm trying to. I'm trying to present some questions here that, you know maybe if somebody listens to, it might make you think a bit differently. You know, and the result after is gonna, like, how long will society take to go back to normal? But what is normal? Out in Europe, Spain, Italy, right? Where it's been crazy, so many deaths, right? They've been on lockdown. In their culture, aren't they ingrained to really greet people by, kissing them on the cheek, right? That's their standard greeting. Like, is that gonna change? Is like, once things go back to normal, will that go back to normal, or is that change for the rest of time? You know, um, it's just so interesting to think about. Um, and there's so many different avenues, and we're just talking about the normalcy of society going back after, the ban is lifted, if it's May 4th. But who knows? It could be a while, you know, and time frames. They're saying, the vaccine may take 12 months at the, peak, most efficient. Everything lines up, all the clinical trials, everything is super successful. 12 months for a vaccine. So then, is it, once that vaccine comes out, everybody gets that shot, gets those antibodies, those white T cells, then will people feel safe enough to just go back about their normal day to day, you know? So that's something I've been thinking about, like, when are things actually going to go back to normal? But now I'm going to talk about the actual effects I think it's been having on a lot of different industries, and how, you know, the future is going to be very reliant on the internet. And I feel like this is the perfect time. Not saying that this is the perfect time for the virus to happen, but it is the perfect time for the virus to have happened, because of the state of the internet and technology. Like, for as social distance we are from one another, we could still be very socially close. We could still FaceTime people. We could still go on Instagram, go on YouTube, go on, Twitch, and interact with people. I've watched live concerts. I've seen people on Instagram live more often. It's very easy to stay connected. And imagine if this pandemic happened in like 2002, early 2000. So I'm saying after 2000, after Y2K, so like at the birth of the internet, things wouldn't be as bearable for Americans. I'm just, talking about Americans in general, just because that's where I'm at. That's what I can relate with. But internet wasn't as fast. You weren't able to communicate as freely and openly as we do. And what would people have done to really truly be on lockdown? But then also, how quickly could information have spread to be able to, get the results and progress as we have gotten today? You know, there was no Twitter back then. There was no YouTube. There was no cell phones, no smartphones where people can literally get the news within 2 seconds of it actually happening. We have these live press briefings from the White House, and would everybody have been able to see everything and be as accessible as it is today back then? No. So in that regards, we kind of have to be blessed to be in this current time, because we're able to take all this information from across the world. And you see record breaking, like doctors and scientists, or you know have so much more information that they're able to theoretically, you know hopefully that 12-month timeline can actually happen. But this wouldn't have happened if it was literally just 10 years ago, which is kind of crazy to think about. So it's like we are definitely in a blessed time, you know, and the internet is more vital and more apparent than ever before, and it's a great thing that we have it. I'm able to record this, film this video. We're able to entertain ourselves by watching YouTube, and there's like all these people that are still trying to interact and be, not saying relevant, but you could still create a business and be able to thrive despite all this happening. So then, because the internet is so apparent, we have a lot of companies, you know, allowing their employees to work from home, right? Working from home was such a foreign thing. A lot of people didn't do it. A lot of people probably didn't even know that they could do it. But working from home, going to school from home, these things are able to happen because of the technology where we're at today. And a lot of companies are maybe realizing that maybe I'm spending too much on buildings and office spaces, because literally 80% of my workforce is able to work from home. Isn't that quite amazing? Isn't that quite cost efficient for them to, not have to invest in so much infrastructure, building infrastructure, where they can just be like, hey, you know what? You guys are going to work from home. And maybe a lot of these companies are realizing maybe people are working a bit better. Is collaboration still happening between teams? Are people still meeting deadlines? Are people getting more work done? Because theoretically, them working from home means naturally people are probably going to spend more time working than they even realize. And because they're in the comfort of their home, they're going to be, you know, more creative. Maybe a lot of men and women are going to work that much better because before, when they had to go to work, they were away from their families and they were sad. But now that they're home with their families, they can finally, be there and not feel guilty. And then they can step away and still work and provide, but also be there physically, mentally for their kids. It's a great thing for families. So is this going to be that pivotal moment where a lot more people are going to be working from home? People are seeing that a lot more people are working from home, that commuting, driving to places, there's less pollution, there's less traffic, you know, and the air's a bit cleaner, you know. There's a lot of things that are happening right now that can literally change the rest of time, right? Ooh, excuse me. I literally just burped. I'm so bad. You know what? I decided it was a good idea to drink a beer during a podcast. And that was not smart at all. So I see why people just drink water. Um, I mean, even when I'm drinking this, it's not necessarily hydrating me. Like, it's good, but I've been burping throughout this whole thing. So to my listeners, I do apologize. Uh, but uh, I will not drink a beer again, unless, actually, no, I might keep it in. Maybe in the future, when I can get a guest, or somebody on, we can have a beer together. Maybe call it beer and talk, beer talk. We balking. Oh, what you? Oh, I'm about to go on the Spiral Upcast and balk. What's balk? Beer and talk. You know. That sounds weird, balk. What am I even saying? Um, but yeah. Okay, let's see. We're coming up to the end of this first segment, so let me put this down. I'm gonna let us have a little break, and after this break, we will continue down my notes I have here and get my thoughts about this situation. And then what's next? And we can probably wrap this up. But so yeah, thank you guys for continuing to watch. We'll have a quick break here, but I'll be back shortly. All right, I am back again. And for those that are decided to jump to the middle of the podcast for some reason, hello, my name is Nemo. I am the host of Spiral Up. And for those watching, as you can see, I am very comfortable in my chair. My beer has gotten a bit less because I have been consuming it. And we're going to keep this Corona talk going. Get my thoughts out there. And of course, I would love to hear from you guys. If you guys are, watching this on YouTube, comment down below. Let me know what you think about the things I've been talking about. And for the people who are listening to my podcast, make sure you rate, subscribe. I am filming. I am uploading this to Anchor, so if you do have Anchor, you'll be able to leave like a voice note, and I think you could comment on people's podcasts and stuff. Otherwise, I would say navigate your way to YouTube. I'm pretty sure if you're listening to my podcast, you know how to get on YouTube. And like I said, in the show notes, there will be a link, and you can also leave your feedback there, and it's greatly appreciated. Again, first episode. Uh, this is pretty fun. Um, but yeah, but talking solo is quite quite a thing. But it's a good thing that I talk a lot, right? Okay, let's get back on track. So on my notes here, Um, do we care about people? Do people really care about people right now? Um, that is a toughie because the answer is no. I guess that wasn't really a toughie. Honestly, I think, man, it just sucks that a lot of people don't respect the people that are currently working, the essential workers. So everybody working in the grocery store, doctors, everybody in the hospitals, nurses, um, all the people working in warehouses, the mail people. You got UPS, FedEx, you got Amazon. Everybody's ordering stuff off of Amazon. We need to appreciate these people. And seeing as a lot of things, truck drivers, sorry, I'll probably just keep throwing out professions as they come into mind, but there's so many people that are working right now that despite so many non-essential businesses have been closing, there's a lot of people that are working that are keeping kind of everything functioning in a way. And that is why there are those people, on comment sections and people on Twitter that are saying like nothing's really changed. Like I still see, a line of 20 cars at Starbucks. I still see like 15 people lined up for Chipotle or, that local McDonald's or whatever it might be where you live. And it's true. It's like these restaurants, these fast food joints, these places that we kind of take for granted are still essential. Groceries are essential. If you don't have groceries, you ain't gonna eat. So we need to appreciate them. Appreciate if nobody's working in the Amazon warehouse, how else do you think your package just got to you? It doesn't just automatically gets picked and put on a truck. Somebody physically gets your item, puts it in a box, tapes it up, or maybe Amazon has something super advanced where it gets no, they don't. Somebody is physically there grabbing your item, putting it in a box, putting it on a truck, and then that truck driver is taking that item and dropping it off on your front porch, which I am sure you know that they do because you're probably ordering so much stuff because it's like, why not? You know? And like the respect I have for essential workers, like, and even people working in, delivery services, like it's through the roof. And I feel like we live in a society where those jobs are frowned upon, but I feel like they should be paid double. Or if somebody's delivering stuff to you, maybe you should tip them. Maybe this comes from some uh, personal conviction. So I used to work for Postmates, and I still do from time to time. And Postmates is just a great way to make, you know, pretty good money. It's a lot of work. You're by yourself a lot, but you can go, and this is for people who maybe be a bit more introverted. You can go pick up somebody's, you know, food, groceries, or whatever, drop it off. And a lot of time people don't tip. A lot of time, people don't realize that you had to go through and, park somewhere and find parking and then going out and getting that and then bringing it back and making sure their order's correct and like all this stuff. But like these people are taken for granted, but that's all people are doing. Everybody's just ordering from Amazon. Everybody's just, ordering from Postmates or Uber Eats and just expecting like, oh yeah, it's being delivered. Like, oh, I'm perfectly fine. But there's a lot of people that are in the system of America that is kind of keeping America functioning. And I feel like they need to get respected more. So, thankfully, there's a lot of people showing that love, showing that recognition to, all the nurses and doctors and everybody that's out there working because they definitely deserve it. But um, do we truly care about these professions or these jobs? No, they're not even getting paid as well as they should be, especially like right now. Um, I feel like everybody should be getting paid double. That's just me throwing it out there. I feel like grocery stores. don't get me started on grocery stores. Grocery stores right now are the most confusing, stressful, but they're the most essential thing that we need right now, right? With a stay at home order and people are, you're supposed to stay at home, you have to go to the store and get groceries, right? Okay. There's a lot of people who have to work from home or maybe have lost their jobs, but there's a lot of people that aren't working right now. When people aren't working and they're all home and then they're told you have to stay inside for 30 days, you look in your cabinets, you look in your fridge, and you're like, all right, I got enough food for maybe like a week, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know how you are, like if you're a stalker, hoarder, whatever, but you're gonna need to go to the store. And so are hundreds of other people. And this is where grocery stores kind of get a bit stressful for me, especially in this time where we're supposed to be social distancing and keeping people away. I've been to Fred Meyer's, Sprouts, Walmart, Target, different stores, and they never really had anything in place to keep people from being close to one another, especially in aisles, or there's just so many people not even regulating. When the first time I went to Costco, they actually were limiting 10 people in at a time. There's a giant line that wrapped around the building, and it was nice. You went in there, and there wasn't that many people. You literally could walk down a whole aisle, and it's all by yourself. And if you've been in Costco, you know how big Costco is. Like it's rare to be by yourself, but they were regulating the customers. 2 weeks later, went back into that same Costco, and it was stressful. I don't know if they had different people manning the doors or if they got tired or if they were like, yo, we need to get more money or something. But there was people in their carts, and then like you going down, you literally, like, there was just so many people. And it's like, doesn't this defeat the whole purpose of the stay at home order or social distancing? It's like, yeah, you got to go to the grocery stores and get your stuff, right? So the government's allowing people to go to the grocery stores, but then you go to the grocery store and that's where everybody's at. And some people just go to the store just to get out. It's like, I have nothing else to do, so I'm going to go to the local, you know, Albertsons or Vons or Fred Meyer's or whatever you have by you and just look at the cheese. Just stand there because why not? I don't care that somebody else wants to just be in and out. I'm going to just stand there. Why? So that is one of the things that confuses me about the whole. Like, if we really want to prevent the spread of this virus, why are grocery stores still open? I know they're essential, but could we implement a better system in these places that could allow people to actually feel a bit more secure? And I think Walmart I think they announced a couple days ago where they're just going to have one pathway of traffic throughout the whole store, which is great. You know, Costco should implement that too. Just have everybody snake up and down each aisle. If you don't get your stuff on that one time through, that's it. You should have a list before you go. Keep everybody that social distancing and really regulate and you know keep people in keep people accountable, hold people accountable. Why couldn't I not say that? Um, but yeah, I was even in Home Depot. Home Depot was super stressful. Everybody's home. Everybody has all these home projects, and you know, they need to also regulate the amount of people and spacing. So like, it's like, do we really care about the people? It's like, I don't know. There's a lot of things that are like, we care halfway. The government cares just a little bit in certain areas. They care more about certain things, but not in others. But then cohesively, they're not cohesive, and things are just falling through the cracks, and people aren't, you know, really abiding by these guidelines, and It's only going to get worse. So it's like I talked about before we had our break, like when will this really end? Or, if it really ends, what'll really make people feel comfortable? You know? But one thing we do have to appreciate, well, I have to appreciate, and if you're an American, you definitely need to appreciate this. Um, for those who are fortunate enough, is the luxury to be, in America. Like, there are some places that if you lived there and this were to happen, you literally could not leave your door. So, to all the fellow Americans, you know, like, be grateful to be where you are. But man, it's just such a weird time because it's like, I'm feeling like I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in, but there's so many people who literally, I don't know. I don't know what the effects of them not having have worked for a month and say they are getting the stimulus check. It still hasn't came yet. And most people's rent and stuff was due on April 1st, and who knows what the effect is. But then the stimulus check is just one check. What's going to happen 2 months, 3 months, 4 months from now? You know, like, it's such a weird thing to think about. And also, people don't realize the effects that literally have just happened. Like, literally, the economy stopped, and then it's going to start back up again. Like, what does that even look like? I don't think there's nothing in history, there's nothing that anybody can base some model off of that can simulate what is literally happening right now. Everything completely stopped. Movie productions completely stopped. Like, retail, most retail stores stopped, closed down. What's going to happen when they open back up? Will people still feel comfortable going back into these public spaces? Or are the retail companies going to be like, oh, we made enough money going completely online. Let's just keep our stores closed. How much money could we save? Could we make it all up in online sales? Let's do some more, invest, all this, money into digital marketing and, really boost the sales that way. Like, the economy literally is such a fragile thing that I don't people think I don't think people realized how fragile it was. Like, most of, the pharmaceutical drugs and stuff are made in China. China was on shutdown, right? People are like, "Oh, we need masks and ventilators." Where were most of these masks and ventilators initially manufactured from? Where a lot of people, want their tech or their new iPhone, right? And for those listening, I just held up my iPhone. You want a new iPhone, but where's all the parts manufactured from? Okay. And when are these factories going to open back up? And then how long will it take for everything to reboot? And then a lot of these companies say they are operating, right? China's getting a lot of things back and running, right? Because they kind of have a handle on their virus situation. As Americans, we're not buying anything right now. Well, a lot of people aren't buying anything, especially small business owners or, people that are running specific non-essential businesses that buy things from these markets. There's really no, demand for it. So eventually our price is just going to drop because the demand isn't up. And then eventually there's going to be, surplus supply, but is supply really being created when there's no demand? Yeah, these are all the things I think about, especially right now. It's just like it's just such a crazy time, and there's so much information, and the craziest information that I learned recently. Like at first, it was like nobody buy mask, right? Nobody buy mask. Leave it just for the medical professionals. You know, nobody buy mask. But if it was made mandatory from the very beginning, for maybe 2 months, for everyone, every American to wear a mask when outside, right? People went 2 to 14 days without showing any symptoms. If they had a mask and say they did have it, it could have prevented them from spreading it from somebody else. If they didn't have anything, it's okay. They're having a mask, they're being extra precaution, but now these other particles, there's less of a chance for it getting into them. Whether if it's not a mask, then maybe if it was a scarf, right? Which is kind of what Trump has said recently. Like everybody should, when you're out in public, it's voluntary, right, to wear a mask. But when you think about it, when you look back, this misinformation, what would it have been like? What what would we have, had less of a spike in cases if things were handled differently initially? Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, those are my thoughts about coronavirus. I'm just really more concerned with what's gonna happen next. You know, this is crazy. But I want to talk about myself for a little bit before I end this podcast. As mind you, this is my first episode, and it's a pretty heavy episode. So I guess get you guys to know me a bit, see what I've been up to. Um, so since the pandemic broke out, I have worked out literally every single day since. That's the only consistent thing that I've literally done. Like every single day, I've either ran, worked out, walked, did something outside actively. Of course, practicing social distancing and where I live. And this is also the luxury of where I'm at in the state of Washington. There's a lot of different trails and pathways and walks that I go on with my girlfriend, her sister, and her brother. Mind you, we all live together, so that is why we are able to. But we can avoid people like today. There may have been 2, 3 people that had to go into the street to get out of the way from. But it's a luxury. But that's the consistent thing. Also, recently finished that starting a podcast video, which I'm really proud of. I think it's pretty. I think the pacing's pretty good. I think it's quite informative in a way. I like the way that I shot everything. Pretty much, it's mainly like 2 days of shooting. One day shot the A roll, another day shot the B roll, and then kind of another day editing it all together. But working on things day to day, I think that was great for me. Um, so what's upcoming? I think I really want to try to, get a better routine, right? Because I don't really have a routine where it comes to the video and podcast. And then because I have this luxury of time, it's really what I want to focus on. So if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcast, or actually any podcast platform that you are currently on. If you are watching this on my YouTube channel for this, make sure you guys subscribe for future videos. Also, down in the description, there's going to be a link to my actual YouTube channel. Make sure you guys check that out. Subscribe there. Hit the like, share with your friends. And I really want to hear back from you guys. what you think about everything that I talked about, what your insights are, and yeah, like weird times, crazy times, but we can only look towards the future. We can only control what we're doing right now, what we're doing today, and what we're gonna do next. So I appreciate you guys for listening. Again, I don't think I'm gonna drink another Corona on this podcast unless, yeah, I don't know. Who knows? But thank you guys for listening, and to those watching, thank you for watching. And as always, you found me. And until next time, peace.